The ant who climbed the mountain in a bustling meadow at the foot of a great mountain, there lived a little black ant named Tycho. Tycho was the smallest in his colony. While other ants carried big crumbs or built sturdy tunnels, Tycho often struggled to lift even a grain of rice. The other ants teased him. "You're too weak, Tycho," said one. "You'll never do anything big," said another. Tycho lowered his head but whispered to himself, "One day, I'll prove I can do something great." The dream of the mountain every day. Tycho looked up at the enormous mountain that towered over the meadow. Its snowy peak touched the clouds, and streams of silver water ran down its slopes. No ant had ever climbed it. "That mountain is impossible for us," the older ants said. "We are too small. We should stay here in the meadow, where food is plenty." But Tycho's heart stirred whenever he saw it. "If I can climb to the top, I'll show them that even the smallest ant can do the greatest thing." The journey begins one morning. Before the colony woke, Tycho set out toward the mountain. The grass towered like trees above him, and pebbles looked like boulders. But Tycho marched on. Step after step, he whispered, "I will not give up." After a long day, he reached the base of the mountain. The rocks were rough, and the path stretched endlessly upward. His tiny legs shook, but he began to climb. The first challenge, the river of rain. Soon, Tycho reached a rushing stream formed from melted snow higher up. To him, it was like a roaring river. He tried stepping on a leaf to float across, but the water spun him in circles. Just when he thought he would drown, Tycho spotted a small stick lodged between two stones. He climbed onto it and slowly crawled across, gripping tightly until he reached the other side. He gasped for breath. "I nearly failed, but I didn't." The second challenge, the rocky slope. Higher up, the ground grew steep. Huge stones blocked the way. Tycho tried to climb one, but each time, he slipped back down. His legs ached, and his body was scratched. A grasshopper sitting nearby laughed. "Little ant, you'll never climb this mountain. You're too small. Go back before you waste your strength." But Tycho shook his head. "I may be small, but small steps still move me forward." He began again, one pebble, one grain of dirt at a time. Slowly, carefully, he climbed until he finally stood on top of the rocky slope. The grasshopper stared in surprise as Tycho marched on. The third challenge, the cold wind. As Tycho reached higher, the air grew thin and cold. Strong winds howled, threatening to blow him off the mountain. He pressed his body flat against the rock and crawled inch by inch. At one point, he almost slipped into a deep crack, but he caught a tiny root with his legs and pulled himself back. His body trembled, but his heart whispered, "Don't stop now." The final stretch at last. After days of climbing, Tycho could see the snowy peak shining above. His body was weak, his legs bruised, but he pushed on. Step after step, breath after breath, he climbed until finally he stood on the very top of the mountain. The world stretched wide around him, forests, rivers, meadows, and the ant colony far below. The sun rose above the clouds, painting the sky in gold. Tycho's eyes filled with tears. "I did it, I really did it. Even the smallest ant can touch the sky." The return. When Tycho returned to the colony days later, the ants rushed around him. "You survived. You really climbed it. How could such a small ant do such a great thing?" Tycho smiled. "It wasn't strength that carried me up the mountain. It was determination. Step by step, I refused to give up." The older ants nodded with respect, and from that day on, no one teased Tycho again. Instead, they looked at the mountain with new eyes, not as something impossible, but as a reminder that even the smallest can achieve the greatest heights. Moral of the story: size does not decide strength, and weakness does not decide failure. With patience, determination, and steady effort, even the smallest can climb the highest mountain.